Thank you for inviting me to this very timely conference. Actually, I've arrived this morning from Washington, D.C. I attended the conference next day of the election. Participants from U.S. side were all depressed due to the result of the election. So now the uncertainty is growing more and more. Then it is difficult for me at this point to give some kind of a prescription on this issue. So today I will speak about the current Japan's policy toward North Korea or North Korean nuclear issue. The Japanese government has adopted the policy of so-called dialogue and pressure, especially under the current Abe administration. So, but at this point, the deterrence is also an important aspect of Japan's North Korea policy, because North Korea's further progress with nuclear weapons and ballistic missile development, coupled with repeated provocative rhetoric and behavior, constitutes serious and imminent threats to Japan's security. So in this context, strengthening the US-Japan alliance has been needed, not only to address China issue. China issue is most serious as a security concern to Abe government, but also to effectively deter North Korea's provocation. So then the Trump administration will be a big challenge for Abe administration in terms of Japan's relationship with neighboring countries, especially in addressing China and North Korea, as well as alliance management with the United States. So in regard with deterrence, the ballistic missile defense, DMD, is an important security measure to deter North Korean threat. So Japan's BMD is a multi-layer defense system with upper SM-3 missile by Aegis-equipped destroyers and lower tier by PAC-3 missile. So which is operating with close collaboration with the United States. So to deter North Korean military threat more effectively, Japan has recognized the need to further integrate its BMD system with the United States and share the information on North Korea with not only both the United States, but also with South Korea. So in this context, the Trilateral Information Sharing Agreement, so-called TISA, signed in December 2014, was a very meaning and positive steps in deepening security cooperation, not only with the United States, but also South Korea. Now, so as you well know, the bilateral information sharing agreement, so-called GSOMIA, is discussing between Japan and South Korea. Frankly speaking, from the Japanese perspective, GSOMIA is really desirable, but I well know that the problem is whether national sentiment in South Korea will allow both governments to conclude this agreement. So going back to the policy dialogue and the pressure, Japan still has opened door for dialogue with North Korea because Japan and DPRK agreed to launch a so-called re-investigation committee on Japanese abductee in Stockholm 2 years ago. But North Korean side has yet to submit the report on re-investigation. So as you well know, the abduction issue is one of the very high priority issues to Abe, Prime Minister Abe. So meanwhile, the pressure as well as deterrence is also a main policy tool at this point to the Japanese government. But very unfortunately, Japan has few options in terms of its unilateral economic sanction, because we have no trade relationship with North Korea since early 2000, which the abduction issue strongly raised in Japan. Just after the Japan DPRK summit meeting in 2002 with Koizumi and Kim Jong-il. So then the Japanese government now it's making its effort greatly in the international community, especially in the UN Security Council, to adopt a very strong resolution on North Korean nuclear issue. So finally, the unification, on unification of the Korean Peninsula. So it's my personal view, but from a Japanese perspective, unification on the Korean Peninsula is really desirable, but should be managed in a peaceful manner. So at the same time, it's clear for me that Japan supports unification led by South Korea, irrespective of the unification process. So it's also important by all means for Japan to be involved in this unification process as a constructive and reliable supporter for the South Korean people, so that unified Korea can have a better relationship with Japan. And from a Japanese perspective, the also important thing is unified Korea should be a nuclear-free state. So my last point is Japan really welcome Korean unification, but should be managed in a very peaceful manner, and unification realized nuclear-free Korea, and unified Korea should have a very positive and constructive, good relationship with Japan. I stop here, thank you.